What's up everyone? Today we have weekly challenges, December week 3, and back with another special event in the Radical SR3 SL. The first race of this week's challenges is the European Sunday Cup 400 at Brands Hatch, and I'm using the 2000 Renault Clio V6. I chose this car randomly, wanting to use cars I may have used once or twice, or even not at all, and this car surprised the heck out of me. I drove this car stock with only racing soft tires, wanting to make it a challenge, thinking it may not have enough power, and I'd add the smallest upgrades one by one until it was competitive. And I soon found out that this car was most likely built for this, and no upgrades were needed. So what I decided to do was restart the race, which you're seeing right now, and remove all the assists I usually use, aside from the ABS. I took the opportunity to practice with no assists because the car handles very well, yet a bit awkwardly when letting off the brake, but the control is there. The Clio in stock performance got me in P2 before the end of the first lap with my eyes on P1, knowing I'll take the lead shortly. I was honestly surprised how good the Clio was. Even though it wasn't the challenge I was hoping for, I was happy I got to practice using no assists. I don't know if this will make me a better driver at my skill level, but that was the challenge I got out of this race. And that's pretty much it for this race, easier than I thought it would be, but I was able to make it fun for myself. The Clio is a great choice if you want to just get this one done, and you don't need to buy performance upgrades, just racing softs. Second race this week is the pickup truck race at Colorado Springs, with obviously only two choices, the Toyota Tundra and the Ford Raptor, and I chose the Raptor. Being from Toronto, I'm biased to the name because of the Toronto Raptors. Another 3-lap race, this one was wild and fun, and since we're on the dirt, I figured I'd stay with no assists on, and since there isn't many dirt races, it was cool to go back and do the race again. Going back and doing these races that we tend to leave behind after it's completed adds some new enjoyment to the game, and that's what makes these new weekly challenges pretty awesome. And because this was in the dirt, that did make it a little bit of a challenge. I was able to get P1 in the second lap and keep it till the end, even with a couple of scare moments where I almost lost control.
A few moments later.
And approaching the finish line, I was actually able to put some decent distance on P1 and 2, and again, this was fun. I really enjoyed revisiting this race. Hopefully they add more, and maybe 1 or 2 more pickup trucks. Or better yet, some rally trucks. Third race is the special event race of the week in the Radical at Road Atlanta, and I decided to keep with the theme of no assists. I figured it would be good practice, with moving up in performance and speed compared to the Clio. And for that reason, I didn't remove any upgrades and kept it OP. The only real challenge was just getting around the AI, which can be a little tricky at times. The regular AI seemed to have an upgrade on their skill level since update 1.40, and with 5 laps in this race, I got to put in some decent time practicing with no assists with a faster car, and the Radical is always fun to drive, and Road Atlanta is a fun track to drive too, so this was a really fun combo. And just before the end of the first lap, I got myself P1, easier than I thought without assists, and it came down to me not messing up and crashing or spinning out. Here in the 4th lap, I had a literal jump scare. I hit the curb and the back tires hopped off the ground and I almost lost total control, but somehow managed to save it. And again at the same spot, went too much on the inside of the curb and hit the grass, but this time I managed to keep control and cruised over the grass on the other side. And here at the end, the race itself, not being a challenge with the OP Radical, but getting some good no assists practice for majority of this race. Obviously it varies depending on the car you're driving, but good practice nonetheless. The 4th race is the Japanese Clubman Cup 550 at Autopolis International, only 3 laps, and we are starting this race at night. I'm driving a 1992 Toyota MR2 GTS, and this car is also fully stock with just racing soft tires. I kept going with my no assists practice. I figured I'd keep going until I couldn't handle it and needed to make a change, and going full stock. made this race a good challenge in this car. Start of the second lap, I found myself in P5, but the top 4 had a major lead on me and I wasn't exactly sure if I would catch them in time, so I had to drive on point to gain as much ground as possible. But to my surprise, before the second lap ended, I had caught up and had them in my sights, so I knew I had the chance to catch P1 during the third lap. And that ended up being right here, but not before P3 tried to make a pass on me to take back P2. He got by for a quick second. I mistakenly bumped him on the turn, but managed to hold him off and keep P2. And then on the next bend, I was able to get by P1, and thankfully, because with a couple sectors left, I didn't have much time to do it for the win. And now coming to the line, I was able to hold off P2 by putting a tiny amount of distance between us, but just enough to secure the win, and that completes another race that I got some good no assists practice on. The fifth and final race is the Porsche Cup at Spa-Francorchamps, and I chose to drive the 2009 Group 3 911 997. This race has a max of 650 performance points, and I bought minimal upgrades to make it competitive. Here are the upgrades I bought, and I'm running on racing hard tires. Pause if needed to make adjustments if you're using the same car. And again, continuing the no assists theme for the final race, and with 5 laps at Spa, I felt like this was a good track to really practice without any assists. Here in the second lap, I made it all the way up to P5, faster than I thought, and with the sky looking gloomy since the start, I was hoping it wouldn't rain and I'd need to pit for intermediates. Jumping to the third lap, and now in third place, as I'm trying to gain ground on P1 and P2, I missed my braking point and had to cut through the unused part of the track. In the fourth lap, I got close to the leaders, but then realized P1 and 2 have more power as I watched them take off on me, so I wasn't sure if I would catch them in time or at all. But here in the fifth, thankfully I take Eau Rouge faster than the AI in this race and I gained enough ground to make the pass for P1 on the straight, but with the power of those cars, I'd have to play defense till the end. Then this happened, but thankfully it didn't cost me and I kept P1. And that brings us to the end of race 5 and completing week 3 of December's weekly challenges, all races done without the regular assists I use. Hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe and see you next time.